Alright, folks, hello and welcome. Tom here, and today we're diving headfirst into a proper storm brewing in Washington, D.C. in August 2025. The streets of the US Capitol are alive with tension as hundreds of protesters have gathered at Dupont Circle and marched to the White House, shouting Trump must go now. And this is what democracy looks like. This isn't just another demo. It's a full-on rebellion against what many are calling a blatant power grab by President Donald Trump. We're talking federalized police, National Guard troops patrolling the streets, and serious accusations of fascism flying about. It's a lot to unpack, so I'm going to walk you through the key details, the numbers, and what this all means for America's democracy and economy. Let's get to it. The spark, Trump's emergency in DC. So, what's going on? It's August 2025, and Donald Trump, back in the White House after his 2024 re-election, has dropped a bombshell. On the 11th of August, he announced he's liberating Washington, D.C., from what he calls violent gangs, wild youths, and the homeless. He's gone as far as labeling D.C. the most dangerous city in the world. Sounds like something out of a dystopian film, right? But here's the kicker. Actual crime data paints a very different picture. According to the latest stats, violent crime in D.C. is down 35% compared to 2020, hitting its lowest level in 30 years. So, why is Trump making such a bold claim? He's using a piece of legislation called the D.C. Home Rule Act, passed in 1973, which gives the president the power to take control of the city's police force for 30 days in a declared emergency. Trump's invoked this law to federalize D.C.'s police, deploying 800 National Guard troops and hundreds of federal agents from agencies like the FBI, DEA, and others. This move has sparked outrage, especially among D.C.'s leadership. Mayor Muriel Bowser and Democratic lawmakers are calling it the most severe attack on D.C.'s autonomy in decades. Why? Because D.C. is a Democratic stronghold. Over 90% of its voters backed Biden in 2024, while Trump scraped just 6.5% of the vote. It feels like a targeted move to clamp down on a city that's never supported him. Trump's justification hinges on a narrative of chaos, citing isolated incidents like the attack on Edward Corristine, a former Department of Defense employee, to paint D.C. as a crime-ridden mess. He's promised to knock the hell out of the problem, using language that critics, like Mustafa Bayami in The Guardian, call a classic fascist playbook, exaggerating a crisis to justify strongman tactics. But with crime stats contradicting his claims, many see this as less about safety and more about consolidating power. The protest. In March for Democracy on the 16th of August, hundreds of protesters, led by the activist group Refuse Fascism, gathered at Dupont Circle for a massive march to the White House. Their chants, Trump must go now. This is what democracy looks like, and in the name of humanity, we refuse to accept a fascist America, rang out across the Capitol. This wasn't just a noisy rally. It was a powerful symbol of resistance against what protesters see as Trump's attempt to undermine American democracy. The atmosphere was charged, but mostly peaceful, though tensions flared at times. Protesters shouted traitors at National Guard troops, and police set up bicycle barriers to control the crowd. At least one person was arrested near the White House, though details on why are still unclear. The speeches at the protest were proper moving. Tony G., a member of Pueblo de Resistance and Refuse Fascism DMV, kicked things off, praising the crowd's bravery and paying tribute to immigrants who've died under ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, raids. He called for a 10-second moment of silence for victims like Carlos Montoya, a 52-year-old from Honduras, saying we're here for those who've been silenced, those who died in detention camps fleeing ICE raids. It was a proper emotional moment, grounding the protest in real human stories. Next up was Carl Dix, a veteran activist from Refuse Fascism, who didn't mince words. He slammed Trump's talk of wild youth gangs as a racist dog whistle aimed at black communities, drawing parallels to Trump's infamous call to execute the Central Park Five, a group of black and Latino youths wrongfully convicted in the 1980s. Trump's painting black people as criminals, Carl said, warning of a slow genocide being accelerated by these policies. Then Corey, a local official from Paterson, New Jersey, took the mic, quoting the Declaration of Independence. When a long train of abuses shows are designed to reduce us under absolute despotism, it's our right, our duty, to throw off such government. He accused Trump of cozying up to Vladimir Putin and criminalizing the homeless, tying it to a broader fight for justice.